Hello. Thanks for staying. I was pretty sure that everyone was going to be gone by now. My name is Athena, and I lead sustainability in the B Corp practice for New Seasons Market. And for those of you who are not Portlanders, we're a small regional grocery chain headquartered here in Portland. We have 22 stores. They're neighborhood stores. We really try to be in sync with our neighbors, so they're all really different and they each have their own vibe and connection, but our customers are very deep green folks. They care about where their food comes from, and kind of our purpose and mission is to connect eaters with the people who grow their food. We were the world's first B Corp certified grocery store. We became B Corp certified in 2013, so we're really proud of the work that we do kind of across the board in terms of governance and social and environmental work. And I invited Ed, my friend and colleague, to come up and speak with me today about a partnership that we're excited to share with you all. I'm not going to go into detail on this because we've heard so much about EPR today, and I'm glad that so many people are connected. But there's just a lot happening in the space of packaging and policy around waste and recycling. And even for a small brand like New Seasons Market, we're beholden as a producer to invest in the system, and we are seeing changes very rapidly happening in recycling infrastructure in Portland, and obviously in California, where we have sister brands as well, and then across the country. I just think it's helpful to start the conversation in terms of there's a lot of context happening. There's so much happening, and the story we're going to tell is just a little tiny snippet and story of how we're supporting a system in our own way. So New Seasons Market customers, as I mentioned, we consider them like dark green. They are like ultimate recyclers. They ask where their poultry came from, like Portlandia very much encapsulated that story accurately. And our customers, we did a study a few years ago and asked them, what part of this matters to you? And they really pointed to recycling. They were like, we want to be able to recycle this thing. Recycling is like our job. And for sustainability professionals in the room, we all know that recycling isn't necessarily the #1 indicator of an environmental performance, but we also know that it's a way to get people engaged. It's a necessary aspect of circularity. And so we take that really seriously. If our customers tell us that they want us to focus on something, we really try to listen and respond to that. And it's also a way for us to differentiate as a brand. Most grocers do not care what you go do with your stuff. They'll pay a fee if they have to, and that's pretty much as far as most of them go. And so we are different. We also want to make sure that we're not just talking about recycling. Food waste is a huge, huge issue. It's like the #3 biggest opportunity for reducing global climate emissions. And as a grocery store, obviously, we're very committed to reducing our food waste. It's a business imperative, and it's also the right thing to do from emissions and environmental perspective. So several years ago, when I came into my role and I was starting to understand what does it mean to be a good steward of our packaging, I wasn't a packaging expert, and so I had the benefit of working in this great city with so many smart people who are focused on this good work, and I connected with the Oregon Department of Environmental Quality, and they helped me sort of establish a hierarchy to basically make better decisions in our own company around packaging without having an LCA tool or a degree in packaging engineering. And so they helped us put this together and essentially just sort of told us, when you're thinking about packaging, what are the top things that you need to do? And what do you not need to think so much about? And so you can see, recycling is, mid to lower down on this list. And so that's where we started. We started thinking about how we could reduce and optimize our packaging, lightweight the packaging, really obviously very focused on PFAS and other toxic chemicals, and then increasing recycled content. Where we didn't have an LCA to help us understand the nuances of this, this is the tool that we use with our internal packaging decision makers. And that was really helpful because this just doesn't really exist out there in the world, and a lot of people are making decisions based on stuff that feels good but is not necessarily based in reality. And so we started talking to a bunch of packaging providers, and that was when we met D6. And they helped us understand that because they have sort of a prototyping potential and they can customize packaging, that we could get together and actually look at our SKUs and understand how to optimize the space and the shelf space and reduce the content. And so we, were able to sit down and compare our previous packaging with the D6 model. And we also said simultaneously, we're looking at this hierarchy and we want 100% post-consumer recycled content. And they said, great, and all of it's going to come from domestic sources as well, which was really important to us. At the time, that was not almost possible at all, especially in food packaging. And so we were able to sort of do an initial side-by-side with our previous packaging and the D6 work, and saw huge reduction in the actual amount of plastic that switched to PET, and then a strong reduction in terms of distance of transportation reduced. And then we were like, well, that's awesome, but really our customers care about recycling. Because, I should have said this earlier, the packages that we're talking about they're called thermoforms, and in Portland, these are not recyclable curbside. You cannot put these in your blue bin. If you are, you're doing it wrong. You need to stop. And so our customers are really frustrated by that. And as a food producer, we needed to make packaging that people would actually want to buy food out of, and that met all of these other criteria for food safety, transportation, all those kinds of things. And so we decided we wanted to go a step further, and we started talking with D6 about ways that we can kind of make a connection for, so let's have this great product. We embossed on the label, you can kind of see here, 100% PCR, return to New Seasons market. You can't see that at all, but that's what it says, because we're also trying to inform and educate our customers, right? So where they're buying the materials, they can also recycle. So buy here and recycle here. Also, this does not exist anywhere in the city of Portland. You cannot recycle these anywhere. It's not like you can go to some other grocery store. This doesn't exist. And so we established some depots, we're calling them, and the recycling centers at the front of our stores. You can see the people there. And we started taking these in. We did a 3-month, 3-store pilot to try to gauge the volume of what we would expect to see, and it was like so far off from reality, it was crazy. We accept #1 clear PET. We hear time and time again it's the cleanest, best, least contaminated material there is. And we also accept material from anywhere. So if you go to Costco and you buy like 24 eggs in a container and it's a clear PET container, you can bring it to us. And so we established a system, and we're really, really proud. When we started, it was about a 1-to-1, 1 pound of recycling, or 1 pound of material that we were purchasing from D6 to 1 pound recycled. Now, I think it's 1 to 6. For every 1 pound that we buy, we're recycling 6 pounds. So the net benefit to our community is actually quite large. So, and we're also working on education for our customers to help them just continue to drive this behavior. They're doing this not because they have to. They're bringing these containers clean back to our stores every single time they shop with us. And we've seen this huge influx we started in 2022. And so we work with an amazing logistics partner. We bring in the material. Our staff are educated. They care about this work. They sort out the bad stuff. And then we bale it and we send it to D6 after we have a truckload. And then I'm going to pass it to Ed because this is where it gets really interesting. But I guess I just want to say we're really excited to be able to be part of something that still is not part of EPR legislation in terms of the Unified Statewide Collection List. This is still a material that's not integrated into that plan. And we're removing millions of materials from potentially landfilling. And we're really just excited to be part of a system like this. Okay, Ed?
Yeah. So thank you for having me here today, and the vision that New Seasons saw. Remember, when you start talking about making changes at companies, it's a lot of hard work, it's a lot of back end, so the vision for New Seasons, we're very thankful because they're actually the first retailer to go carbon negative on packaging in the world. D6, we're a thermoformer globally from Chennai, India to Gaffney, South Carolina. We touch about 15-16% of the world on an annualized basis. So for them to have the vision, we're thankful, and so proud to be here today in Portland. What we're showing here is like a very basic scheme of how materials move. So availability in store, customer shops, right? We are nothing without the customer. If they don't return it, they don't consume it, we have nothing to recycle. Our materials go to drop off. K&S Recycling in town helps corral the materials to get to 40,000 pounds. We load the bales on their truck. We wash it, we clean it, then we extrude it. So we go from non-food grade to food grade. And at the end of the day, we loop it through our manufacturing and we give auditable, traceable materials from the zip code we picked it up in, to wash, the yield, to the market we put it back into. One of one in the world for hard to recycle items. And around it goes back to the stores and consumption, and consumers feel better because whatever we want to do for ESG or claims, we are guilty until proven innocent in the eyes of the consumers. That's why we have to really be auditable to get that trust back. Step process, just going through multiple steps, about 7 to 8 here. End of the day, we really need to track, because when we want to go after the EPR and the PRO kind of rebates for what is known as REM market, a responsible end market for waste, it's incredibly important to show an auditable trail domestically. You don't need a passport to go see what's being done at D6. Go to New Seasons, hear the story, consumers can see it. This line is one of one in the world. What is so special about this line is not only its scale and size, it's about a half mile in length. Just let that settle in. When we built this out, there was no guarantee that anybody would want 1 pound off of it. So this was kind of, if you build it, they will come. By the end of the day, it's never the wrong time to do the right thing as a brand. Consumers come. Engagement back in the store, truth is what we seek around the packaging. With this, our materials come in on 0.1. We take 900, 800 pounds bales. We feed it through delabeler, and you're going to see some RFID. We are tracking. Brands are now tracking RFID code for what is known as frictionless checkout. We're able to see when these things scan through zip codes they came from, materials, so we can create scorecards for like a 10-count frosted cookie. It passes through. For every one we recycle, we can see what we sold against. It's incredible, like actual statistics that can't be fat-fingered or pushed through. It can only be read by RFID. Those materials come down, we separate by bottles and thermoforms. We feed them down, and we turn it to all food-grade materials at the end of this loop. So when you put something in, it's 2 hours before anything comes out. Water. We've heard a lot about water today. We are one of one. We have no drains in the building, no evaporation fields, complete municipality facility for treatment of water. So we can loop our water through. We can sustain life for about 100,000 people a day without discharging any microplastics, anything into the environment. No drains out of the building. One of one in the world. Very, very, very proud of that. Most recyclers use 3,000 to 10,000 gallons per hour. We're only using 100 gallons of fresh water a day, lost to evaporation. Absolutely incredible. Now, we make these great claims. We're working together. Now we have to have auditability, right? We can't change anything we can't measure. So we built out EcoVisor. This allows transparency to see a bale come from Portland, Oregon, to loop it all the way back through, show a yield rate north of 90+% of what we're seeing, loop it into materials, and we can show everything in one. So we have transparency, we have traceability, we're now auditable by PO level and 2,000-pound increments, and we have the accountability that everybody's asking for and what our consumers are seeking. These are kind of really neat numbers. Now remember, this did not exist before. So we've had 231,000 pounds in the New Seasons, 669,000 pounds recycled, but because of the New Seasons relationship and communication in the market, we have now recycled over 3 million pounds or 33 million units out of the Oregon market for hard to recycle items. So for every 1 pound we're putting in the market, on top of New Seasons leadership and D6 working with local MRFs and others, we have recycled 13 pounds for every 1 pound we put in this market, with 0 government subsidy and just 2 companies trying to solve a problem. Now, how do we become a REM? So, because we got all these laws and rules and we're going through it. We have to have compliance, health and labor. We're not shipping it out into international markets and it goes in the abyss and around the world and comes back. We're doing this in America. Really proud of that. So we're under SEC law and US law. Transparency, our EcoVisor. We can show a bale through the system all the way back to the shelf. Environmentally sound. We're handling our water. It was really neat to hear a lot about water because I've been geeking out about it, get into bacteria and growth. It's incredible when you get into it, those little things doing their thing under the microscope. And at the end of the day, we need yield, okay? So we're not trying to get in the commodities markets and push things out. We're trying to give our customers a great product that's auditable, and they don't have it shattering, breaking, or causing cracks to where we have recalls. We're very, knock on wood, never had a recall, so really stoked about our product quality and our yield. Now, not just good Boy Scouts, good Girl Scouts, good whatever Scouts. We're going through Association of Plastic Recyclers, Green Circle certification, so we're going with the best of the best that advise for governments, entities, to show that our PET flake is certified and our rPET pellet is certified, right? Giving trust and verify, right, along the lines. And that is us in a nutshell. Please shop at New Seasons and help support this great cause.